I'm out here on the beach today to see if the Velotric Discover 2, a commuter bike, can survive a beach trip. And if it is, that gives you just another use for this fantastic bike. Stay tuned and I'll take you through the test. Here's the key question. Can the Velotric Discover 2 be used as a beach bike? Well, I'm out here to test that, and here's why I think I'm going to be successful. The first thing is, it's got 27.5-inch rims, which means that there's a greater footprint of the tire on the sand. Second, it's got 2.4-inch wide tires, which I think will give me plenty of purchase to keep from sinking in. And third, it's got a powerful 750-watt motor that generates 75 Newton meters of torque, and I think that's going to be pretty good to get through at least the first two types of sand that you normally encounter on a beach. So let's talk about that so you don't try and take this where it's never been intended to go, where you really need a fat tire bike. So on a beach, there's 4 different types of sand. I'm sitting down here in what I call type 1, which is hardpack. When you see the tide come in and go out, it really packs the sand down up close to the ocean. And behind me is the ideal type of beach that would make this a perfect bike to ride on, because type 1 sand is hardpacked. It's almost like concrete, and pretty much any bike can get on here. But typically, hardpack is only good for about low tide plus or minus an hour and a half. Now that gives you a 3-hour window to ride on the beach, which for most is probably good enough. The next type of sand you encounter is you go up the beach and then the sand becomes a little bit looser and wet. And that's where I think the wider tires at 2.4 inches and the torque and the power will allow me to push through that. And my experience is, at least on my local beaches, I can probably ride this bike at plus or minus 2 hours and 15 minutes around low tide. Quite a bit of time to get out and have an adventure, go surf fishing or whatever. Now the next type of sand is what I call the wet mushy sand. This is where your tires are going to sink in, and that's where I think this is going to have a problem. But we're going to go up and confirm that. And type 4 sand is loose, dry sand. Nothing gets through that. Not even a fat tire bike. Don't even try it. Now, a lot of people will say, well, go ahead and just air down your tires. I've got these tires set at the minimum recommended air pressure of 30 pounds a square inch, and we'll see how it goes. Now, if you're going to play with your air pressure, be sure you bring a tire pump with you, because you might pop your tire off the rim. So a tire tool would be helpful as well. But I kind of think that the 30-pound minimum is going to be good enough, and we'll see how that goes. Now, if you don't look at anything else in this video, skip ahead to the end where I talk about the critical maintenance you need to do after you take any bike on the beach. And there's an important trick that I'll show you to keep this thing from rusting out. Okay, let's get going. Let's see how this works. Type 1 sand, which is what's behind me, shouldn't be a problem. Not a real problem there. One of the things I need to point out is it's good to keep your thumb on the throttle, because as you hit any soft spot, you're going to want to goose it a little bit to get through that. Let's go find the next type of sand. I'm going to go drive on this from the kind of the light mush sand out and back, and we'll see if I can get through this real mushy sand. We'll see if the 75 Newton meters and the wider tires are good enough. When you look at the track, you can see how this sand right here was too soft. I started to slip and move around. Over here, I had decent control. So What I think the answer is the bike can handle sand that isn't really too mushy, because I was able to ride through here without much problem. And this is what you want to stay out of. See how deep I sunk in? I know there are going to be people who want me to reduce the tire pressure, so I will do that. Okay, that's about as much as I want to let it out. I'll do it on the back tire as well. So I think I'm down to about 25 pounds of pressure. Now, what I just demonstrated was the ability of this bike in the eco mode. Remember, there are 3 different levels of power profiles on this bike: eco, trail, and boost. And in boost, you'll get the maximum amount of power, and that will also help you get through this mushy sand. So if you're having a hard time making a go of it in a lower profile, just bump it up once. Let me show you. I'm going to go up the same path right over here, so I'll be in the same mushy sand, and you'll see how much easier it is with a little more power. I'm in trail mode right now. A little bit wobbly, but I could get through it. So that's always an option. And the great thing about having 15 different levels of power assist on this particular bike. Let's take the bike up the sloping hill that leads down to the ocean, just to show you that it's got the power and the torque to deal with that. Plenty of power with that 75 Newton meters of torque and the 750 watt engine to get up these sloping sand dunes. I'm heading back now on the slope. Not a problem at all getting through here. If you ride on the beach, be sure you do the cleanup when you get back. Now, the Velotric Discover 2 is IPX6 rated, so you can use high pressure water to make sure you get all the sand off. But here's the secret. Once you're done, take a leaf blower and completely dry it off. If you do that, you're not going to have a problem with rust. High pressure, IPX6, leaf blower. Perfect.